For years, women have been told that if a man isn't falling in love, it's because they aren't attractive enough, interesting enough, or somehow failing to be unforgettable. I think that advice gets a lot wrong. In fact, after 60, some of the very things women do in hopes of winning a man are often the exact things that keep real connection at a distance. That sounds backwards, I know. Most dating advice is built around the same exhausting formula: get his attention, hold his attention, give him endless reasons to choose you. They tell you to stroke his ego, to make him feel like the ultimate superstar. But life teaches us something completely different. The women who build the strongest relationships later in life are rarely the ones straining to impress someone. On the contrary, they are the ones who have simply grown tired of performing and started showing up as themselves. They stop over-worrying about saying the perfect thing. They stop anxiously managing how they are perceived every single minute of the date. They aren't looking for a man to mother, to cook 3 meals a day for, or to fold socks for. They certainly refuse to turn themselves into a financial safety net or a hollow ego booster. Instead, they lean back, letting the relationship unfold naturally rather than trying to force a happy ending. There is something incredibly liberating about that posture, because real connection doesn't grow from being flawless or impressive. It grows from feeling understood and respected. When the pressure is off, an average man can easily transform into a veritable George Clooney in your eyes, but you shouldn't have to be Catherine Zeta-Jones just to be truly seen and heard. So I want to share 3 simple steps back, 3 accidental shifts that will bring 2 people closer together than any dating strategy ever could. Compliment him on who he is, not just what he does for you. John Gottman's team spent years asking a deceptively simple question: what separates couples who stay genuinely connected from couples who slowly drift apart? One of their core findings was what Gottman called the Fondness and Admiration System. Not chemistry, not compatibility, but the repeated, specific act of noticing something true about the other person and saying it out loud. Specific, that word matters. Gottman found that vague positive statements like "you're so great" or "you're so helpful" don't move the needle the way specific observations do. The brain processes generalized praise as social noise. It processes a specific, accurate observation as, "this person actually sees me." Here's why that matters differently after 60. Most men at this stage have spent decades being valued for output, the job, the salary, the provision. That kind of recognition has a shelf life because it's transactional. It answers the question, what are you useful for? It doesn't touch the quieter question most people carry but rarely say out loud. Am I actually worth knowing, just as I am? Many men in their 60s have never been asked that question directly. Many have never had it answered, so when someone pays close enough attention to name something true about who they are, not what they produced, not what they fixed, not how useful they've been, something shifts, not because it's rare, because it proves someone was actually paying attention. There's a difference between "you cook so well" and "I notice the way you try to make everyone around you comfortable, even when nobody asked you to." The first compliment appreciates a skill. The second names a character. Most people will forget the first by Tuesday. The second stays. One thing worth saying clearly: this only works if it's real. If scanning someone's qualities like a checklist, looking for the right thing to say, they'll feel that too. The point isn't to find the correct compliment. The point is to actually pay attention and let what you genuinely notice come out. When it happens, when someone feels genuinely seen, maybe for the first time in years, the dynamic between 2 people changes. Not because of what was said, because of what it proved. 2, respect what he loves, even when you don't love it too. I want to tell you about a moment I've seen play out more times than I can count. A man is talking about something he loves. Maybe it's fly fishing. Maybe it's restoring old motorcycles. Maybe it's the history of a particular war, in more detail than anyone asked for. His face changes when he talks about it. Something comes alive, and the woman across from him smiles politely, waiting for him to finish. Then move the conversation somewhere else. He notices. He always notices. I'm not saying she did anything wrong. She was being kind, actually. She didn't roll her eyes. She didn't say that sounds boring. She just moved on. But there's a difference between tolerating something and respecting it, a small difference in behavior, a significant difference in feeling. John Gottman's research on what he calls love maps, the detailed knowledge partners build about each other's inner worlds, shows that couples who stay genuinely connected aren't necessarily people who share all the same interests. They're people who stay curious about each other's interests. That curiosity is what keeps the map from going stale. At 60, you both spent decades becoming who you are. His passions aren't random quirks he picked up last Tuesday. They're part of how he makes sense of the world, how he relaxes, what gives him a sense of competence and joy. You don't have to love what he loves, that's not the point. The point is whether you're willing to ask one real question about it. Not, oh, how was the fishing trip, as you're checking your phone. Something like, what is it about fly fishing that you never get tired of? And then actually listen to the answer. That question does something the polite smile cannot. It says, I'm not just tolerating your world. I want to understand why it matters to you. Men at this stage of life have often spent years feeling like their inner world wasn't particularly interesting to anyone. A partner who asks and genuinely listens is rarer than you might think. You don't have to go fishing with him. You don't have to pretend you care about the difference between a dry fly and a wet fly. You just have to care about him enough to be curious. That's the whole thing. 3. Bring your real life into the relationship. Not a highlight reel. There is something many of us do when a new relationship begins. We bring the best stories, the best moods, the most polished version of ourselves. We talk about the trip that went wonderfully, the grandchildren who make us laugh, the hobbies that keep us busy, and the parts of life that feel easy to share over dinner. But after 60, I have come to believe this creates a problem that often shows up months later. If a man only sees your highlight reel, he is not falling in love with your life. He's falling in love with a carefully edited presentation of it, and presentations are exhausting to maintain. Real life at this age is rarely simple. It may include an adult daughter who worries you, a sister whose health is declining, retire decisions that still keep you awake at night. Some mornings you feel energetic, other mornings you would rather stay home and speak to nobody. That is not failure, that is life. I once knew a woman who had been dating a man for several months. Every time they met, she made sure she seemed cheerful and relaxed. Meanwhile, she was carrying the stress of a difficult family situation that occupied her thoughts almost every day. She never mentioned it. Not because she was dishonest, because she did not want to burden him. Then one evening she finally said, "This has been weighing on me for a while." His response surprised her. He did not pull away, did not look uncomfortable. He simply said, "I wish I had known sooner." That moment changed the relationship more than any perfect date had. There is an important difference between oversharing and vulnerability that Brené Brown discusses in Daring Greatly. Winnability is not telling someone every detail of your life before trust exists. It is allowing another person to see that you are human while trust is being built. A small sentence can do that. I am carrying something difficult this week. I am still sorting through some family concerns. You do not need a dramatic confession. You do not need a long explanation. You only need enough honesty for someone to meet the real you instead of a character performing happiness, because a relationship cannot support you if it never sees you. And the strange thing is this: many women worry that showing real life will make a good man leave. My experience has been the opposite. The right man often becomes more present when he is finally given something real to stand beside. Let him know there is a real life behind the smile. That is the life worth loving. By the time we reach this stage of life, most of us have already learned that love cannot be forced. You do not have to become more fascinating, more perfect, or more desirable than you already are. The goal isn't to make someone fall in love with a version of you. The goal is to create the kind of connection where two real people can gradually feel safe enough to be known. Notice who someone is beneath the surface. Stay curious about the things that matter to them. Allow them to see the real life behind your smile. And if conversations like this help you see relationships a little more clearly, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Wise Life After 60. Thank you for spending this time with me.